Hi healers, welcome to my channel. I'm Sarada Muladar with Chakra Goddess, coming to you from the New Orleans French Quarter. This is a root chakra healing portal in the United States. Most of the time when people think of the root chakra of the United States, they think of Vegas, but this is also a similar port as Vegas. Vegas is more so a intergalactic port, whereas this is a Earth port. So we're out here. I don't think you can see her. We're out here for the moon message. It's the new moon, so you don't see a moon at the new moon. There's a star. I can't see. I came outside with my glasses on and realized that I could actually see way more stars than usual because I didn't realize that I don't ever wear my glasses, so I didn't realize that with my glasses on there were actually stars. I always thought that it was just like this one star or two stars out here, and I always thought the sky didn't really look that real. A lot of times, like, it'll be kind of overcast all day and it just seems like it's gonna rain, but then it never rains, and it feels like it's a day where people are meant to be inside. And a lot of times those days coincide with strong astrological days where there might be tempers flaring or fights, prone to fights. So today's the new moon in Libra. Can you guys see me? I know it's really blurry, but I'm still gonna film this video. It's so beautiful out here, honestly. I really wanted to remember this moment. It's Friday the 13th. It's a great day. It's Witch's Day, it's the Goddess Day, it's a day for coming home to yourself. And earlier, these two guys were getting into a fight, and one of them said, "Here, come on. Come on. And one of them was like, told the other one, get the fuck, leave. And the other one was like, I don't have to leave, I know who I am. And that just really stuck out to me. Like, that would be something to say at that moment. Like, I know who I am, you can't make me leave. And it was funny because in the moment I was like, I was like tensed up, and I was like, what is gonna happen? But I didn't really feel scared or anything. But then later, after one of the guys that was in the fight left, they didn't physically fight, they just argued, but they threatened each other. And one of the guys left, and then the other guy came back after he had left, and I was like immediately scared. Like, I was like immediately felt scared when he walked up, even though it's like, he don't pose no threat to me, but just because the fight was happening, it scared me. And I've been clearing a lot of stuck trauma in the body from visceral experiences like that, where it's like, this reminds me of something else, or, you know, I feel like I've slipped into a slipstream of consciousness that is relating an experience that I know. Come on, babies. My dog. Sunshine. So a lot of that is being cleared right now. Like, it's really good because I'm gonna sit down for a second. Here, baby. I'm gonna do her thing. Hold on one second, you guys. Okay, hi guys. She's a good girl. She is a good girl. She's a good girl. We're gonna give her a lot of leeway right now. She's being a good girl. There's nobody around. So I spoke a little bit on pet ownership in some of my live streams that I did today. Honestly, you guys, I feel so at peace right now because my work is so easy on me, and I've set it up to be that way. And I really, well, this is a moon message for Why the fuck? Get the fuck. Come stand over here at me. I purposely didn't go over where I wanted to go because this person was there, and now he's walking up on me. See, that's how it be. That's why you need to just like stay with your chest, go where you want to go, and fuck how people feel about it. So that's also another reason why I got a dog, so people will have a reason to either come at me kindly and correctly, and my dog will sniff it out right away. She barks at people that come at me that have bad energy or negative intentions. She doesn't like it. Even though she's just a puppy, she's very protective. And it's so cool being in New Orleans where so many people see me with a black dog and they're like, oh, Ekate. And they know that I'm in a crossroads moment and I'm moving through something within myself. So I'm prepared to stand up for myself as myself. And that's why it was so poignant when that man got into a fight and he was like, I know who I am. And I'm like, you know what? I feel you. Yeah, you know what? I fucking feel you. I know who I am. And that was this moment that I came through, which I'm thankful that I have gone through this process, because this is a process of transmutation and alchemy that would have literally freaking taken me out and like fucked up my life had I gone through it at another point, which some of y'all have seen me go through alchemical portals like this before and been like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And I have been like that too. And you know, I have a public persona because I run a business and I have things that I help people with that's important to me, and I have a destiny which is written into my birth chart, which has to do with communication and speaking about things, specifically sex, death, birth, the occult, the collective unconscious, and the underworlds. These themes is part of my reality, and it has been part of me from a young age. So it's easy for me to speak on them. So already today, I already spoke for like hours about metaphysical aspects of healing, of death and rebirth. I taught a class on death, and I taught a class on spirit versus spirits. I am in the realm of the dead. I live in New Orleans. I walk around with ghosts and vampires and aliens and demons and goat people and centaurs and dogs and cats. That's right. Yeah, she was like me. She's like me. That's right. She keeping watch. She not having nothing. She not having nothing go down. That's why I can sit up here looking like I'm freaking just came from church, looking all cute, looking at like a princess. This is my life. You understand what it has taken for me to feel safe? I literally come from a reality in which honor killing is a real thing. Your own family will literally murder you for bringing shame to them. That's how much they don't give a fuck about you unless you do what you're supposed to. And how the fuck do you think I've ever been supposed to be able to fit into that? I have always been just like such an oddball, and to be able to make it beautiful, like make my own life. It is so funny because right now is where in this speech, it normally then someone would start saying that they would start giving appreciations. This is where at the point in the story where a lot of people would thank someone or something for bringing them to that point. But what I learned is that it's like all of it is accumulative in my life. I've been the person. It's just been a shedding process. And what's interesting too is that the blueprint and the encoding of this is in the birth chart. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just surfing. Sunshine. Hi. It's in the birth chart. So one of the things that I wanted to speak on in this video was the fact that I don't really resonate with many of the lunations of the new moon or the full moon as much anymore, but there's certain ones that really speak to me. And it's not even, I don't see the moon the same. I see the moon as a void point where you go into the void. That's the moon, is the void. And it's not really reflective. That's something else, which I think is like a screen. It might be a satellite. It would make sense for it to be a satellite, especially if it harvests energy that is directed at it, because so many people say, look at the moon, and you know, there's it's said that you're not supposed to look directly at an eclipse or even really be outside during the actual eclipse, because it's supposed to be a private lunation. I don't really believe that either. I also had downloaded the theory that the moon is a moon of Saturn, and it was placed here to enslave Saturn's children, the humans that are like basically like the warrior class, basically. There are so many different theories that have emerged from my spiritual exploration. It's been really cool, and to allow myself to like not need it to be historically accurate, but just to like gain a more kaleidoscopic viewpoint of history and like humanity and things that have happened here on Earth. Not get so caught up in present day realities of binaries and borders and all these things that don't really stay relevant for too long. And so one of the special things about this new moon portal in Libra is that Pluto is direct in Pluto is direct. I am from the Pluto and Libra generation. Pluto is direct in Capricorn. I am a Capricorn moon. My father is a Capricorn. Masculine energy is represented by Capricorn. That is the daddy of the zodiac, and the devil of the zodiac. And that's the reality that many of us are actually mixed with demons, actually. And that comes from our patrilineal side, because in order for your father to like gain access to a wife, in order for your patrilineal lineage to like produce fathers and men that were able to have a wife, they would typically have to kidnap her, or they would have to be physically strong enough to protect her. So, you know, or they would have to be financially well off enough to have an army. So yes, our fathers and the men that come through our the men that carry patrilineage, because all men don't become fathers. So this is the thing about patrilineal and matrilineal, is that it's not just women. Like when you talk about patrilineal line and matrilineal line, that's not just all men and all women. Those are the people that choose to reproduce and create children for the next generation. That's the only way that lineage continues. It remains unbroken, because otherwise, and that's what the thing with siblings, people have been bred just like animals. And I don't understand why more people don't talk about this or think like this, because why wouldn't they have been? Why would people go to all the trouble to breed all these different types of dogs and different, you know, like mules and things and ligers, and not experiment with different strains of human beings, and mix strains of weed and not experiment with strains of human beings? Like, obviously they did it. So if you have one family that have 5 siblings, then each of those siblings, that's essentially like the creation story that is talking about the different tribes of Israel. Is like all these different siblings created a different lineage, then they were all different colors, and that'd be like that. And that's what is a major cover-up that happens in places like Cuba and the Gaza Strip, that what they don't want to be seen is the diversity. And even now within the media representation, you do not see diversity of Palestinians. But a lot of people that would come to Israel from somewhere else it would be more advantageous for them to like be citizens of Israel more so than Palestinian citizens, especially if they weren't already there. There's more to this. Like, it's honestly, it's more that it's unfolding with the story of like what actually happened. I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but I will make a video. Because one of the things that's come up a lot in my spiritual work is that ancestors have lied. I can't even get it out, because that's literally how much magic they put around it. It's like, we will create a story that is a total fabrication in order to survive and create a more advantageous avenue for us to survive through, and you will tell no one, and we're not going to talk about it. And if you say shit, you're not even going to be able to, because you're going to choke on your words. And what I found really interesting with a lot of lineages is that people think that they're white, and then like a lot of clients that I've worked with, we've worked on racial issues specifically, where a lot of them did not know, you know, people are like, I am white, but there's multiple lineages. They're not just white. And the reason why they think that is because it's a cover-up, because it's not been okay. And it's like you passed, nobody could know that you were passing. They couldn't know your true identity. It's perfect topic for me to explore from the French Quarter, New Orleans, where they literally had different names for the percentages of how much you were mixed with what. So people know mulatto, but they don't know all the other words, which I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna go there. But that's also, see, the things that happen in the media, they're not just random. They're clocking public opinion, and they are specifically trying to clock public opinion about race. A lot of people notice how there's like, everyone notices certain things about the racial landscape of the media based on their positionality, which it will usually be some way to enable victimhood consciousness. But it's really interesting how, like, sometimes victimhood consciousness ended up being really false and displays a person's own inner world that stems from their insecurities, which will make sense, because if you have experienced certain things, it can traumatize you. And that's one of the big things that has been going on for me, is that I've been purging that. And I think, like, a lot of people would like think certain things. They'd be like, oh, seems crazy, that sounds crazy, or why this or why that. The thing that I want to, like, complicate in the conversation is when it comes to, like, craziness and what seems crazy, what looks crazy. Well, if it's something that's making you uncomfortable, do you think that somebody else, what do you think should happen to somebody else? Do you think they should be locked up in an institution? Do you think that they should, like, not be allowed to come around you? Like, how does that work? Because for me, spending a lot of time in the New Orleans French Quarter, where this is a place to commune with spirit, I come here to the river to commune with spirit, and I see a lot of people all the time that are, like, communicating with spirit, and they are doing so in all kinds of ways. A lot of people, you can tell they're stuck in trauma loops. There's ghosts out here that are stuck in trauma loops, and then sometimes those ghosts jump into people's bodies that are vulnerably open, and they get them into a trauma loop. And I'm just as capable of getting stuck into a trauma loop as anybody else too. And I think that there's a lot of comparison when people think, like, oh, she's a successful healer, she makes a living doing that, how can she be like that? She's not healed. Like, I'm really not worried about that, because I feel good in my life, and sometimes I have had to break down in order to find that feeling, and I'm not sorry. And, you know, the worst part about breakdowns is the toll they take on a relationship. So I learned to make the space that I need for myself to exist, so that I won't have to snap out on people and have everybody being like, she's crazy. Because maybe if you had just left me alone, I would have been fine. But people really don't know their limits, and a lot of times they don't know what you need. You know, you gotta let them know, because people are very selfish. Everybody's not an earth angel, but a lot of times with the earth angels is like, and the empaths is like, that's a form of selfishness too, like controlling others based on, like, you needing to feel comfortable, so you put them at ease to an extreme degree that causes a detriment to you. Oh my god, this is exciting. Okay, I was about to put the camera on it, but then the rat ran away. But she was about to have a showdown with the rat. This is the most ghetto shit ever. No, it's so funny. But we having a good time, and we don't give a fuck. We are Arab American Palestinian princess. Get to do what we want to do, ho. Oh my god, let me stop. I get to do what I want to do, ho. No, like, this is so funny. This is not me. I'm grown as hell. I had to throw that middle finger up because, see, I've just always been so soft and gentle, and I still had to fucking fight everybody. You remember when I turned 28 and I posted a photo of myself, like, I looked so cute. I had, like, long extensions, and I had this blue dress I used to wear all the time. I had long nails, and I was just, like, sticking my tongue out and doing this to the camera, and it was my birthday, and my mom was like, take that down. I'm just like, why does my parents always policing my social media expression? I'm grown. And what I found was that I didn't get that much discipline when I was growing up, and then they tried to come back later and discipline me, because then it was all of a sudden, oh, it was too late by then. I was already grown. I was already feral and trying to do things that I thought was good, like go to college and have a career. The only career that I could really get into was activism and nonprofit, which seemed perfect for my skill set. But going through the process, I learned how people like me are funneled into jobs like that. We are paid less. Other people get promoted and they get administrative positions, but people like us that actually really know like what the people need and create programs and systems accordingly, like often do not get promoted into those higher spaces. And then other people write books and things related to our expertise and our experience, and just this is a thing that so crazy that people really, even other women of color and colleagues that you have around you will still steal your shit, and they will act like, what are you talking about? They'll act like they thought of it. I was pushed into isolation by experiences with other people where they just didn't really like have the capacity to share. And what I learned throughout time is that you're not dealing with grown-ups, you're dealing with children, and a lot of people are ruled by their base desires and their very basic comfort levels. And I also realized something about my comfort levels was what made me comfortable was very different than what made a lot of other people feel comfortable, because of how chaotic the environment was that I was growing up in. It was like a combination of chaotic and cold, and it's just making me twisted. And then I spent my 20s in the strip club. I spent first I was a professional activist, then I was a professional sex worker. That's a pipeline, right? Shout out to those shorties. And then to spirit work. That was a pipeline, one in one or the other order. So there's all these rats running around out here. I remember I came out here with a person I used to be friends with in Atlanta, and she was so freaked out and felt like it was so dangerous. And I thought it was funny because I come out here all the time by myself. Nobody bothers me. And I remember that woman, she was really judging me. She's Muslim and she's comes from a strict family, and it's moments like that show me how much a lot of people do not really have their own, I'm not gonna say she doesn't have her own personality, but just so heavily influenced by the group and not really able to get outside of it, which is to me a form of slavery that I don't think that a lot of people see, that it's like you're locked in, and you know, to each their own. But for me, it's been really important for me to unlock that, like unlock myself from that and let myself go and be and do freely. I'm never scared to come out here. I'm not scared if I see a bunch of rats running around. They're not gonna bother me. They're scared of me more than I am of them. Plus, I come out here all the time. I don't care if a fight, look, I'm not gonna say all that because I don't want the universe to be like, okay, we heard you, what you want? But I don't give a fuck. I know I can hold my own no matter what happens. I feel safe, I feel comfortable, and I trust my intuition to guide me to know that I'm not gonna go wherever I don't need to go. But that's a skill that I've cultivated throughout years of taking myself on the walks, spirit-led walks, and just moving with the wind, going with the flow. Like even traveling all over the country, like in my car, walking around the whole city and many different cities on foot for hours, just exploring, like letting myself explore and see what there is to see and get a feel for the earth energy. So I know a magnetic frequency that I can lock into, and it doesn't need to be a cult or a family or any type of like organization or anything, institution, anything over me. That's sovereignty, and it's actually exceptionally rare. So I'm making this video to explain my concept of sovereignty, and this is it. And this is the moment when we can take our own definitions of sovereignty and take them through this portal to match them into partnerships with others that feed our needs and allow us to be part of whatever machinations of the machines that we want to be part of. Because for a lot of people that tune in here, there's something bigger than you that you've been called to do, and you all have your own different ways of doing it. and your birth chart will unlock it. And what's been really interesting about my relationship with astrology is because I've studied astrology for like over 10 years, but there's so much to know about it that I don't know. I've taken classes. There's just so much. It's such a deep, in-depth science. So there's a difference between studying astrology and being a professional astrologer. But I use my intuition, just like I read tarot intuitively. I read astrology intuitively too. I use my intuition that will tell me things that I don't know how I know, and it doesn't necessarily correlate with the common knowledge related to whatever sign or the transit or whatever, or card. But it's what's channeled in the moment for that person in that specific situation. And so one of the things I've been offering for my clients has been intuitive astrological alignment sessions, or spiritual business alignment sessions is what I call them. So I look at the person's birth chart and we see how lined up they are with what they within their spiritual business or their spiritual work or their professional work, whatever it is. A lot of the people that I work with have unorthodox gifts where people wouldn't exactly expect that of them. And I relate to that because I think it's been so weird having people constantly doubt my spiritual gifts because they just think that I don't know what I'm talking about, or they relate me to somebody else that they know. I can still be a goofball and still be very skilled and talented. I remember when I first started practicing Reiki, one of my friends, I did Reiki on him, and he was like, I had no idea you were that powerful. And he was like shook because he couldn't believe that I had that much powerful energy. And I thought, wow, this is so crazy. Like, you never really know how people see you or how they don't see you. And then I started to realize that over the next few years with that friend was that I had known him for a few years, and that he had basically put me in a box. People, they meet you, they put you in a box. This is how a lot of people operate robotically. They put you, and this is militaristic too. So I think it's really important to know your friends and your people's military affiliations, which they might not be readily apparent to you. And these are things that I think about now that I didn't know about back then. Just being cognizant and conscious of it, and being more worldly throughout life. But it's like, I always understood like a lot if people didn't know about me, but I made it a point to know about other people as much as I could, like when it came to different cultures or different way of life. But then as I grew older, I became sensitive to what I consider like empathy milking, basically, which is like people like squeezing out any drop of empathy, like sweet empathy. It's like fairy blood for vampires. And this is the energy from a lot of the people that I work with. I've been through so much, if you know me, and it was funny that now I have the attitude of like, that was all a choice, bitch. Like, and what's crazy is the reason why bitches make choices like that is because that it comes at the end of a lifetime of always being the bigger person, always sucking it up, always like handling it on your own and being there for everyone. You know, you might be there for everyone and then end up homeless and there's nothing left. Like, and it's not just because, oh my god, no one will help me. It's one of the things is that like sometimes we just really can't receive. It's easier to give than receive, so then we end up depleted because we can't receive enough to replenish. And then other times it's that we communicated to the universe that what we need doesn't matter. We put other people's needs ahead of us, so we create a situation in which we don't have what we need. And even when it comes to abusive relationships, there's like, I'm too afraid to live my life, so I'm going to put somebody in charge of it that's going to hold me back. Yikes. That was loud, huh? Was that loud? Let me run that back. Even with abusive relationships, it's like I'm scared of living my life, so I'm going to put someone else in charge of it who doesn't want me to succeed. Because what if you outshine him? He's gonna know that. He said this is why there's like a lot of debate about hypergamy and like, you know, who should date who, how, and why. But it's really important to like you know, date somebody that, I don't know, don't listen to my advice, I'm single as fuck. But don't ever date somebody that puts you down. That's a red flag, and we don't notice that if we have low self-esteem. I mean, it's like, this is where parenting is so crucial. People really don't understand what they're doing. Like, if you have to build up your children's self-esteem, otherwise they're susceptible to abuse. And a lot of parents don't realize that they're creating victims by their own victimhood consciousness imprinting. But just like, people can't see themselves. Like I was saying with the road rage example, people will get upset with somebody for doing something that they do 2 seconds earlier, and they think it's different when they do it, but it's not. That's like that with everything. People think it's different when they do it, but it's not. So the example of like somebody being like, oh, she's not a real healer because she's not really healed. I mean, what are you gonna do about the reality of the fact that there's real healers that really molest people and have raped people, and they really heal people too? And we're gonna dive into that now, because there's been a news story that I don't know the details of, but why is it always that somebody that's a revolutionary gets accused of molesting kids? The short answer that a lot of people do not want to hear is that they really did it. They usually probably really did it, and the reason why is because the spirit world is full of that, and so are all families. And it's an initiation portal that a lot of children go through with their parents. So it would not be a surprise to see that would happen. I mean, that's the initiation portal for spiritually, sexually gifted children, unfortunately, is that experience. So why wouldn't a spiritual family have that occurring in it? And that would normally not be a thing. Like, if this was like an ancient society that was structured around ritual sex, fertility rites, then everybody would know that this family would basically initiate and induct their own children into it, or like that those children would be taken and it would be done. Every situation is different. Being an expert on this it's weird. Because one of the things that's weird is that people can't talk about it, because the only thing they can say is like either he's innocent or lock him up, he's evil. But they can't really face the reality that like majority of families, the children either don't remember, or it's a secret, or even if it's open in the family, whatever, every family has a different way of dealing with it. But this is not welcome as part of open reality. It's part of the shadow side of the collective unconscious. So one of the things happening now as we go through this new moon portal, it's Libra, and the Pluto and Libra generation is the 1972 to 1984 generation, where a lot of the anti-sex, anti-free love, STDs, AIDS, HIV, Pluto in Libra is basically, Libra is representing relationships. So Pluto is the collective unconscious and the underworld. It's like feminine coldness, darkness. It's vilified. It's denied. It's the shadow side. Basically, Pluto is the shadow. And I heard someone say like, it's not men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's men are from Venus, women are from Pluto. And I like that. Then Pluto is said to be a moon, but then it's also its own planet. What is it? Is it an asteroid? Can't pin it down. You can't pin it down, but it's direct now. And so this does have very deep implications for the Pluto and Libra generation to reclaim sex and sexuality, because the generations that came after Pluto and Libra, that's Scorpio, that's Sagittarius, Capricorn, those are all very sexual zodiacs, sexually free zodiacs, and Pisces too. Like those signs are gonna get theirs. They're probably gonna get theirs. You know, every zodiac has different sexual attributes, but when we're talking about Scorpio and we're talking about Sagittarius, they're sex magicians, typically sex magicians. And another thing that is coming out through this time is like the collapsing of the archetypes, collapsing of the zodiac placements and the houses, all these things, and the new moon cycles and the full moon cycles, collapsing it, because it's a way of making sense of something complex, but we're able to now make sense of the complex thing on its own without needing as much translation, which comes through the form of like the cards, the archetypes, the zodiac signs. Because you'll notice that it's the spiritual healing industry can become like it can also be a form of milking creativity and milking empathy and spiritual energy from people, and you have to be really careful with what you're doing. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't like do it. That's how you learn. And I think a lot of people are looking for safety in spiritual work that doesn't exist. That's why like my spiritual work and my spirituality is at the intersection of revolution. It is spiritual warriorship, because if you guys notice that like I have been mentally struggling for weeks, it didn't just come with this with these attacks on my people. And my biggest issue at this point now is just that, like, I have bigger issues than who's attacking us. I'm being attacked from the inside, and you know, I'm having all these I'm like, oh my god, it's so funny because it sounds so like, it sounds vapid and privileged to think, oh my god, what about me? But what else am I supposed to center, and why shouldn't I? And this is what I'm saying, is this is the way that martyrdom and victimhood and genocide follows us even after we escape it. And that's why I don't have survivor's guilt, and I refuse to. And it's like, how can you look at that and look away? There's nothing I can do about it. But I will consume information and media to the degree of my desire and ability. And I think that should be like a bare minimum standard. And I don't like when I see people say like, you need to talk about this, or you need to do this, or you should be looking at this, or when you try to put in front of my face images of people getting killed. Like, that is a spiritual attack. And the way that I feel the spiritual attacks happening is different, because I've been more tuned into the spirit world than into the material world, but I'm just now occupying that part of my field. Like, I have been speaking about going through a spiritual cleansing of ridding my field of all these different spiritual attachments and entities known as jinn. And it changed how I feel in the world, because before I was operating on multiple different timelines. I still have different aspects of my personality, but they're more integrated into the whole, and I feel more whole in my body. And it's a continual process of coming home to myself that it's been really uncomfortable at certain times. There's a lot of things that I go through that people would think, you should take medication for that, you should go to the hospital for that, or you should get a doctor for that. And I don't do none of that, but I do work with teachers, coaches, mentors, and guides, and healers. But I literally don't want to go to a therapist or she got tangled. Hey, wait, get down. Let me untangle it. Oh my god, girl. Oh, she got so tangled, and now she's trying to climb up and she can't reach. She's so cute. She's a little stubborn. She's a little stubborn girl. Yes, mama, here. Let me fix it for you. It got tangled. See, I made it too long. I gave her too much leeway. See, that's the thing. So this is another conversation that came up today in one of my classes, which was basically, we were talking about death, and we were talking about caring. One of the things we were talking about was like taking on extra burdens. We were also talking about caring for animals, and how that can be like a buffer between not having a child and having a child, is like a way to like learn how to care for something outside yourself. And this is really a really good time or stuff like that. What you doing, girl? What you smell? What you smell, mama? Yeah, baby. Yeah, so she can't have too much leeway because it's gonna hurt her. See, but she's frustrated. She doesn't like it. So you can't be a people pleaser as a parent or a pet parent. You have to do what's right for them. That's what I learned with my cat Princeton, because I gave him too much leeway. But at the same time, I was also protective of him. I don't think a lot of people have a codependent relationship with their pets, and it's really hard to not for a lot of people, because that's the one like being that you can have more control over, and that's normal because it's like, you know, it makes sense that people have codependent relationships with their pets, their kids, their like people close to them, because how else are you going to survive this world? And that's what's known and understandable to people, and that is poverty consciousness and poverty conditioning too. It's like that's scarcity. Whoa, you want to sit on my lap, mama? Oh my god. Why does she want to sit on my lap? She's so cute. She never does this. This is so cute, but she can, because we're like actually on a bench. This is so freaking cute. I love her so much. Honestly, I don't even care. I do not care about nothing right now. She's biting me. She's just a puppy. So she's helping me she's helping me by being a little her little self, and giving me, oh my god. She's biting me. She's like, it's so crazy how much work it is to take care of her. I regretted it so many times. She's on my purse. Hold on. Move. But I still love her. I thought, I regretted it so much, because I'm like, why did I take on this responsibility? It's so much work, and I don't have any help. It's just me and her, but I love it because I was really lonely. She's caused me to meet a lot of new people, and when I take her places, everybody's happy. Get down, girl. Move. Oh gosh, she's tangled up in my purse. Stop biting me. This is what she always gets like this around this time of night. Give me my purse. Crazy. She want a treat. No, she's not getting a treat. I'm just kidding. But it's so funny too, because I know people will be looking at me like, that girl can't control her dog. I'm like, just don't worry about what the fuck I got going on. Worry about your fucking self. Okay. This video is 42 minutes long. I meant this to be a quick update, but I can't help myself, because I already talked for 4 hours for my work today. And this is what I was saying. This is in my birth chart. This is my Mayan birth chart, my Western astrological birth chart, my nakshatras, all of it. It's speak about sex, death, rebirth, birth, the occult, real work. My mama, she acting like she's a tiny baby. She want to be in my lap. Okay, I'm about to get her home, because she is good. I had never seen her act like this before. I never had her sit in my lap like this before. This is so funny, and she's biting me so hard. Stop it. We're about to fight. Alright, chill. As we move through this time, we're really, I want to go back to the metaphor about leeway, because we really can't give ourselves or anybody too much leeway right now, as we're moving through this passageway. And yeah, a lot of this existing structures and classifications are crumbling. They're making way for something that's more expansive, but at the same time they still exist to give us language to describe them. And one of the beautiful things that's happening at this time is the crumbling of rigid language barriers, and people are having much more wide understanding of each other's languages than we have had in a long time. We're coming up on another really powerful integration phase as humanity, and that's why there's so much spiritual warfare trying to stop it. There's already so much unity, and that's why there's concerted effort to promote a separation consciousness. Hamas and ISIS are CIA, and anything else is a lie. Period. So it's all false flag operations. It's not real, but people will fall for it every time, and they always do. But this is, of course, now after so much years of mobilization, people are sort of not falling for it as much. But it's also just people's spiritual gifts are coming online at a rapid rate, so they're not able to be fooled by the same things. And people are accessing ways of detoxing from the heavy metals and the neurochemicals, so they can have more access to their intuition. So healing mind control ritual is my resource. Like, this is what I do. I'm not gonna do a whole promo right now. I'm not gonna do a whole promo right now. But this is what I do. You can't fit in my lap, girl. This is what I do. It's not just that I do it for my work, I do it with my life, which is what I'm demonstrating to y'all. What I have been demonstrating to y'all in real time is how, like, I have been breaking and broken and breaking open, and partly in response to spiritual warfare I was experiencing, and partly as a crossroads opener and ambassador. What you doing? Oh, mama. Oh, my baby. Oh my god, don't bite me. No, you don't cuddle. Don't bite me. She's being so, why is she being so cute? She's sleepy. She's so sleepy. Oh my god. You're sleepy, baby. Oh, I love you too, mama. I'm about to take this little girl home. But like I'm saying, like, I'm doing it with my life. So you see me living my life. I'm opening roads for people like me. And I know a lot of you guys watching this, what you do too. You live it with your real life. That's why it's happening so magically through your physical body. So this is a really important time, because relationships is the #1 indicator of quality of life. And for a lot of the collective, relationships have been really hard because of surviving family abuse and being so close to it. And so my prayer for everyone here is to come to peace and a resolution with that, where you can forgive other people, decide your boundaries and what you need to feel comfortable, and how you want to live your life, and align with people that can help you make that happen, because there is a lot of love and a lot of help and support for you. And you just have to allow it and let the love in. Let the love in. Okay, healers, on that note. Happy Friday the 13th. Happy Goddess Day. Happy Goddess Day, goddesses, priestesses, witches. This is our day. This is our day, not their day. Oh yeah, and that was a whole other part of the false flags. They try to vilify Isis, the goddess. They try to vilify Friday the 13th. They try to vilify everything that has to do with natural, human, sexual, spiritual, creative energy. And they can't, because people just continue coming to it, obviously, because it's who we are. We are love. And they can never separate us from that. No one can separate us from that, no matter how hard life ever gets. Love always heals everything. That's the most important thing. So this time, pouring love into yourself, pouring love into your loved ones, setting intentions for love, for clarity and love, and opening yourself to the highest potential timeline for you. Let all other extraneous timelines fall off. Let yourself come into union with yourself. And may all your creations that you birth at this time prosper and flourish. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, say mashallah, tell a friend to tell a friend, and stay tuned. Peace.